What happened was, John and I were just talking about this. Back in the 60s, 1966, July 31st, Sunday, was the first day that, or it says 10 days later, boom, boom, we opened to the public, nonprofit Gilmore Car Museum. And this is the first person that bought a ticket right there. And his name was Otto Kerner. We were saying it'd really be cool if his first name was Otto, right? Anyway, he was our first patron, paid $1.50 to come in. And here's the staff over here. They were dressed in straw hats and all white outfits, standing on the ramp at the Sea Barn. And then this is the first advertisement that was in the Gazette. It's sort of interesting. They're open Sunday afternoons from 1 to 5 through September 22nd. So it's a totally different schedule than we have now. We're open almost every day of the year. This is interesting here too. They have a parade every Sunday, weather permitting. Our old cars will be on parade from 2:30 to 3:30. So you might wonder if we got that from Disney. You know how they have all the parading going on. Bring your cameras. So it went from being open just on one day a week to almost every day of the year. So we're open every day except New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter. I think those are the only 4 days that we're closed. So. Another picture of Donald and Genevieve. Here's a more recent picture, probably in the year 2000, somewhere around there. Most of the same buildings in place. Notice here is the carriage house. Here's where the diner would be. And here's the Shell station, I think, is in place. There's no mobile. There's our little replica. This is a replica of the train station in Marshall. And here's the CCCA building. But we're missing the Pierce Arrow, Cadillac, Lincoln, Model A, and this whole section in here that connects through Franklin, the 50s, and then down through that section where we had the hot rods. So that's, even in 2000, those things had not appeared yet.
Fred, there's some tracks still there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is always been, or was, I think, there for a long time. Oh, here's some campers. See, they're camping over here. This is our camping area. We've got a little camping area here that we let people camp in. It's pretty neat. There's not much there to support the camping. I think there's a little electricity there, but we usually do is right in here at the Shell station. We have men's and women's bathrooms, and there's a water spigot, so at night people can come over and still use the bathrooms. But we have camping here for almost any time. Like if we have a scout group coming up, and they're going to come on Friday and spend the whole weekend and camp over there. We'll have a lot of fun. We just don't allow open fire on the ground. They can bring their, all of their other ancillary things and have propane is fine. Okay, let's go on here. When the museum opened in 1966, we had 57 cars. Now, today we have, probably actually close to 500 really. And we have some cars that are not on display but that are in storage. Most of the cars are property of the museum, except for a good example would be these muscle cars out here. Some of them belong to the museum, but most of them are guests people that have donated their cars on loan just for this exhibit. Same thing in the hot rod area. Those are cars that have been loaned to us just for the hot rod exhibit. All the other cars are property of the museum or on a permanent loan to us. So that's pretty neat. Here in 2015, again, we were voted by Pure Michigan one of the very top museums in the state of Michigan, 10 great historic auto sites. That's pretty neat. We are the host to probably 18 to 20 car events here, all throughout the spring, summer, and fall. Every Wednesday, starting in May, all the way through the summer into the fall, we have free cruise-ins at 5 o'clock. The museum closes at 5, but the gates over there are open, and people bring in their antique cars, and they go out to, and regular civilian cars too, and they come to the diner for meals. We have the grill set up, so we're cooking hot dogs and hamburgers outside too, and we have custard, and people come, and some bring their dinners, some eat at the diner, but it's a really fun night on Wednesday evenings, and that's free. And that's starting up next week after next, I think. So, oops, let me go back. Sorry, I skipped that. Our education program is really booming. We've increased the number of people, kids and groups coming to the museum by about 500% over a very short period of time. This is the man right here, Rick Cahal. He's the one who recruited me to come to the museum, and he's a retired history teacher. When he retired, he came out to the museum to help with education, and at that time, there was no one working in the education department at all. He was it. He was a volunteer. He got Steve Turner involved, and then when I retired, he says, you know, if you're going to retire, we really need you on the education committee. I said, well, I'm a member of the museum, a member of the car club. I'm out there all the time. I'd love to do it. So 2 weeks after I retired, he wrote me into working at the museum, and that worked out. This is another cool thing that we do at the museum I mentioned earlier. It's called the Model T Driving School. It's become very popular. Like I say, it gets sold out. This group of students is just one class, represents one class. The classes last a half of a day, and you get to drive twice, and you have history. There's a lot of Model T, Model A history built into that, and also familiarization, and then you get to actually drive in your car with your instructor 2 times, and you go all the way out the loops and come back in the other loop, and you get to back up and park, and you do that twice. So it's a really wonderful familiarization. That's part of what we do here. We have student groups all the time. We also go out to schools and do programs in the schools. We do, our most popular program is Henry Ford, His Life and Times. A lot of the kids study the Depression. They study the assembly line. They study the 20s and 30s. So this dovetails in perfectly to what they're studying in the classroom. And so we do that a lot. We went out to 2 schools last week, and those same 2 schools the next day came here for a tour. So it's perfect. They learn something in the classroom, then they come here and they see it and get to tour the museum and see the actual things they learned about. We have a great we have a great photo op over in the Nomobile, and we don't have an assistant fire chief driving school, but we do have this photo op for kids. Isn't that a great picture? We have our 1930s Shell station is a replica. We built that in the style of 1930, and our pumps are examples of many different eras. We have a gravity feed, and these 2 are electric power. This one you have to pump the gas up to see how much you want, and the gravity feeds down into your car. That's a wonderful interpretive kind of place, and we do a lot of demos out there for kids. We show them what it was like back in the 30s when you pulled your car in with the bell ringing and the attendant comes out. And what does the attendant do? We have a guy who actually goes through all shows them how to check the oil, the air, and how they cleaned the windows back then, and did all those things. The Silk City Diners in 1941, we bought it in Connecticut, brought it here, put it on a foundation. So we have a room down below for storage. We have refrigeration and freezers and stuff down there. We also restored the Silk City Diner some more, and then it was open. I think this is its 11th year here at the museum, if I'm not mistaken. Many exhibits at the museum. You saw the Dust Bowl exhibit. We continue to try to keep those as fresh as possible. The hot rod exhibit's been real popular, and we've thought about moving that along, but it's been so popular we decided to keep it another year, and it's been great. The kids especially really love the hot rods, as do we. This is our steam barn. The streets of the steam barn are from bricks from old Kalamazoo streets. Many of the Kalamazoo streets still have brick underneath them. Kalamazoo College is a perfect example. If you go up Academy Hill, where John Burton went to school, he walked on those same bricks that are still there. So a lot of streets still have them, but those were reclaimed, and Donald put them in the steam barn. This museum for motorcycles is out behind the Shell station, and it is a great place. That is a wonderful little, very, very well done, small but very nice motorcycle museum. That's relatively new here at the Gilmore. That is also going to be expanded to, we're going to expand to the rest of the building and maybe even build on there. Green Book exhibit, we discussed this with the group when we went by. Victor Green's Green Book, and tells a story there. In our No-Mobile building, where we also have the No-Mobile, which is right back there, that 30s Rolls Royce, we have the wonderful collection of pedal cars. As you know, these pedal cars are very, some of them are real rare, some of them are really valuable, and it's a wonderful collection that we have. And some of those very rare ones were given to us by a gentleman who collected those throughout his life, and then at some point he decided, I'm going to give them to the museum, which is a wonderful thing. And there's a little display in there of the gentleman, Stegman, his name is up there, and a little segment there honoring him. So that's neat to see. We have one of the largest collection of hood ornaments, and as the British say, mascots in the nation. We have over 1,500 hood ornaments, and they're located in the CCCA barn and in the depot, the little small little building next door to the CCCA barn. Those are fun to see if you haven't seen them. Here's our Benz. I think we've discussed that. This is usually where we start a lot of our tours, is right here. It's a perfect place to start. In our library, we have periodicals, service manuals, memorabilia, all sorts of things, bound volumes of magazines that go way, way, way back to the beginning of the publication cycle. We also have our archives, which are in the basement. We're constantly weeding, going through the archives, replacing, sorting out duplicates, and so on. So we have really overflown our library space and our archive space. The GarageWorks program is a program just for high school students. It's an after-school program, meets on Tuesday and Thursday from 4 to 6, and it's across in the red building across the parking lot is our shop area. We have a wood shop, and then we have our GarageWorks area. We have about 30 kids in the program. We have about 12 mentors. They're gentlemen who are my age and older, and they work with these kids on restoration projects. We have 2 motorcycles. We have a 35 Packard, an 09 Buick, a 26 Buick. We have an engine team that rebuilds engines, takes them apart, puts them back together, runs them. We have 2 engines we're working on right now. We have a paint team, and all those teams have 2 or 3 mentors with them. The kids come in at 4 o'clock, they have a little snack, we have a meeting, we get started, work for 2 hours, we do that twice a week. And it's a wonderful program, and it's a program that we are really, really blessed to have. And the kids there are great kids. They're kids that want to work with their hands, you know. They don't want to be in an academic environment as much. They really excel working with their hands on mechanical things. And some of these kids are at risk, and so we're glad to have them in our program. And we have developed really great relationships with the kids, and it's a wonderful environment. Here's some pictures of the kids, some of the real early pictures of the program. The mentors are in the gray shirts. Now the kids have black uniform shirts they wear too, with IDs and they wear an ID, they wear a black shirt, and they all wear safety glasses. There's the 35 Packard. That's a great program. It's free to any high school kid that wants to come into the program. This is our new shot of the Heritage Center. This is the main entrance. Mercedes are parked out here. It's our main entrance. This hallway goes down to our administrative center, which our offices are. And right in here is our library, and then down below our archives and more storage. This whole building, starting in this whole area, including Cadillac, Lincoln, Model A, all the way through Franklin. All this is open year-round. Now, since 2012, this building was built in 2012, and then it's been open ever since then. We're open year-round, where before that time, we were open only seasonally. So it's been a big change for us. Oops. The museum itself has experienced tremendous growth. The actual trajectory is almost going up. Like if you have a chart of the growth, you know, it's going up gradually. And then since this building was built, we've just been going straight up like this. It's just now we're up to over 80,000 people coming through the door every year. That's pretty good. And we're getting to the point where we're growing so fast that it's sort of hard to keep up. I told you about our marketing guy, Jay Wallace. You know, he does the marketing, he does the registrar, he's our historian, he's our IT guy. You know, so he's doing all this stuff, and we need 3 people to take some of the weight off of it. So it's just the way it is around here. We just keep running and trying to keep up. Do you have any questions?